All right. I forget what day it is, but welcome to the monthly community meeting of Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. Oh, Christ. Let's start it. Yeah, start it. I told you to start. Stop asking me. Okay, fine. Don't start it. I see how it is. I hate technology. All right, how we're going to run through things here is I really only have one big thing to talk about, which is kind of confusing to myself, but it's how Snipe wants it to be. But we'll see how well we can understand what's going on. In a recent meeting with Mr. Snipe on the staff side of things, we were talking about RTO. I guess RTO has been complete trash. This would be 2 nights ago to be very specific about what night was discussed. I was not on that night, so I have no idea how it actually was. On top of the trash RTO being covered, he also brought to the point that he does not want officers, for some strange reason, announcing that you are on 1011s, announcing that you are doing property checks, announcing that you are doing anything that is not priority related over the radio. He wants the radio left solely to shots fired, officers down, and pursuits. Everything else, he figures, doesn't need to be taking up the radio chatter, and that will eliminate most of the BS on the radio. I find this rather confusing, but what the owner says, the owner kind of has to rock and roll with, or we have to actually make happen in a way, if that makes any sense to you peoples. So if we could start working on that, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm also going to say that the Sheriff's Department needs to go back into their own radio channel with scanning the other PD departments. Don't bother scanning dispatch. This way, everyone knows what's going on, and you guys can still freely talk and not get cut off, because we've been having the issue again with everyone being super active, and now that we're coming into summertime, every department is going to get overly stocked on people, and we could have 100 people, and not really because we don't have 100 slots in the radio, but or a server, but who knows. Um, we are going to have a hell of a time communicating otherwise if something goes down, because we've got so many people on the radio talking over each other, especially with everything and anything being announced over the channels. And like Snipe said, he wants it mitigated to only extremely important information. If you need a supervisor request, you can still toss that out over the radio. Otherwise, oh, who pinged me? We do have... Yes, Mr. Jackson, you're coming up here in a moment. We do have... Where did I put it? Oh, my brain doesn't want to work. Oh, here it is. There is telecommunications device numbers. I didn't have a fancier name for it because someone made the channel without my permission, and then I deleted it and then I remade it. In worst case scenario, oh, Mr. Jackson's kind of funny here. You can just use the cell phone to call each other. That it adds to the RP a little bit, but IRL they actually call for supervisors over the radio. But hey, we have phone numbers. I mean, it gives us a reason to use them at least, and otherwise I have no idea what else to use them for. Mr. Marks, do you have anything?
Only thing I got to add is what we posted in the announcements. We're going to be cracking down more on attendance. Make sure you're hitting your 6 hours a month. And we're also going to be doing away with involving ourselves in priorities that aren't claimed. So if you go into a 1080 for like a minute, let's say they don't claim it, I would just break off to 22 it. And we're trying to do this more also to help with radio traffic. For example, we don't have two 1080s going on at once. And it just makes everything run a lot smoother. So we're going to crack down on both attendance and that.
So you and I should talk before the meeting. Another thing we covered in the staff meeting is we are essentially 22ing absolutely nothing. Now, you can still leave a pursuit and not 22 it, because IRL, they do cancel pursuits for being too fast, too jank, too reckless to the community. And honestly, with that thought process, I would like that utilized here. We should be utilizing it already. I'm not entirely sure if we are or not. If a chase is going 100, 110 miles an hour through city streets, you're welcome to just okay, I'm not chasing them anymore. It's entirely up to officer discretion, because the thought process IRL is either they're going to wreck out and kill themselves, or we're going to catch them on the other side of town. Or nowadays you can track them by cameras or by helicopter. You don't have to have men on the ground ruining things, so you can get ahead of them and stuff. So those are the four main thought processes, and I would love to see those start being used in game. Um, as for the whole 22 it, just don't say you're 22ing it. Just say that it's too sketchy to continue on with it, or it's not a proper pursuit. But I do understand people not claiming the priors. There's no point giving them that adrenaline rush if they're not going to do their side of things. But that is also when you use call admin. Now that I got to that point, we are not asking for government over the radio. If we do, make sure it is like terms of service, like it violated Twitch's feelings. For community guidelines and stuff, use the call admin. But if you're going to call for government over the radio, it better have upset Twitch and got a streamer in trouble. This comes from Mr. Snape as well, because he's sick of scenes being 22'd and whatnot. So you are going to see a lot of scenes that you think need to be 22'd. You are to roleplay them out, investigate everything you possibly can, and just chase it down and do what you can, and then staff will come in after the scene and talk to the person and mitigate it that way. This will most likely be after an arrest, or maybe we never really got this far in our meeting. Maybe it'll be while you're at the prison talking to the person, depending on how you do it, if you use the transports or not. I know that's kind of a weird thing, but it's what's going on because of the current society inside of our own little server here that's kind of gone to a mess. As for the tactical role thing, I see that going down, turning into a debate in the general chat here in the Discord. It's been brought up in a community meeting before, and everyone was pissed off at even the mention of getting rid of it, because it is an action you can do IRL. I'm sad that Mr. Meta's not actually here, because he was a big proponent behind it at that time, and he had some really good arguments for it. I don't know how to do it, so I don't really care. I think I accidentally did it once, but I play on controller, and everyone else I know does it on keyboard, so they can't help me, and I haven't bothered looking it up. But at this time, unless Mark says furthermore, we'll bring you guys up here one at a time, and you guys can state any questions or opinions you have that you want to chit-chat about, and we'll knock them out of the park, I hope. Mr. Bailey, we're going to start with you. Uh-oh, where'd he go?
I don't really have anything to say. Also, for your tactical role, if you're using an Xbox controller, it's your holding your aim button, and then it should be the button to your left on. Don't know what button it is for Xbox. It's the one you use to reload.
I'll have to give that a shot tonight. Another thing, now that you brought up the controller deal, if there's anyone in the department that plays on controller, do be careful. There is an issue in server where you auto lock onto targets, so be mindful. Yash was looking into it there for a little bit, but he can't figure it out, I guess, or something, and he told me to go to base GTA and then change the setting there, which I have it set base GTA to free aim, but in server it's set to full lock. I don't know why, but it's grayed out and I can't change it. So just kind of keep that in mind if you've been noticing it or it hasn't happened to you, that it might start happening. I don't know why it started to me, but it's very annoying. All right, Mr. Bailey, we're going to put you back down in the box, and we're going to bring Matone up.
I have nothing really to say.
All
Other
right.
thing I have a problem with is not calling out 10-11s. Like, I'll say maybe just say I think you should be able to say like the location. And that's really it. Because just in case something does happen, like at least they know like where you are, not just like having like go off like an officer shots fired and
So
whatever's going on.
part of Snipe's reasoning for it was you're not going to hear officers over the radio every 5 seconds. It'll be about a minute in between transmissions, which I don't understand where he got that from because my county radio back home constantly goes off. If you ever see me in game and I've got a random radio playing that sounds like police communications, that is IRL MCSO that I have recorded, and I'm playing over the in-game car radio, and that practically never shuts up. So I'm not entirely sure where Snipe got that from, but that was his main reason on not announcing the 1011s was we're putting too much over the radio too often on top of the whole we need to declutter RTO. But that will be something that I'm sure is going to be brought up in the community meeting tomorrow, so who knows, he might have backtracked his thoughts by then and things could have
Yeah.
changed up, but that was the basis in the community meeting or in the staff meeting the other night, and I was just kind of like, this is weird, but I also wasn't on the
Yeah.
night that everything went to shit, so.
It was a little bit crazy that night. Alright, that's really it.
Alrighty, we'll
I'll
put you
move
back
down.
down in the basement, and we'll bring the other guy up. Mr. Aj. Oh, god dang it. That's not what I wanted. There we go.
Hello, you can hear me?
Howdy. Yeah, we can hear you.
So yeah, with the 1011 thing, that's like kind of stupid. Like in New York City over here, the radio's constantly going off. You hear the officer's radio, it's like click, click, click all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's like stupid, I think. I don't know where he got his information from, but whatever. He's the owner, so he could do that. And then also about this transport unit thing. It's hard to get like it done fast, well, semi-fast, or like in a few days, because a lot of people just don't use it. Like other departments won't use a transport van when it's available, and it's just hard to get your 5 transports done because you're just sitting there for hours with nobody calling over the radio. You tell them over the radio, "Oh yeah, I'm active," but nobody ever calls for you. And
So I
yeah,
know exactly where you're coming from. Part of the reason, like, I'm trying to figure out because I want transport to be part of our department. I don't want to just be done with it because other departments aren't using it, which is whatever. I've told them you guys are available to use you guys. And I had a MPD officer the other night arrest me and take me to station himself. I'm like, dude, there was transport on. Meh, I don't care. I'm like, that's not right.
yeah, that's exactly what they do.
Um, we used to have it where you had to transport 15, so we brought that down to 5. I do know another thing on the transport deals with Mr. Marks, if you want to get with the FTOs and with Cope on this. When there are multiple cadets on, or probationaries on using transport, that's all fine and dandy, but we all know how transport doesn't move. I hate to be bad talking it, but I mean, we all know it doesn't move because nobody else uses it except for maybe 2 or 3 sheriffs that actually try to push it to you guys. But then we have role players that are play till they die. They don't want to deal with anything else. They just want to get in, shoot the hell out of everybody, and die.
Yeah.
Really hard to implement it there. I'm used to my old server where we were 97% passive, and it would take a week of small little things that they would do, and we would investigate it to do like one big robbery on like Friday or Saturday, and it would essentially be a community event because it'd be a 5 hour long cryo. But they had a whole week of buildups of little robberies here and there, and we could investigate it and whatever. So that's kind of a pain to do it that way. But anyways, if there's multiple transport vans on, and there's FTO on, even if it's myself, I don't really care. Somebody needs to reach out to me that's in the transport vans and say, hey, there's multiple of us. One of us needs to go on a road ride along. and then whoever has been like if there's one of you that has no transports whatsoever, you'll be left as a transport. The other guy that has maybe one or two under his belt will be taken out on the road and start being shown the road stuff. Maybe do it for an hour or two, and then cycle out if the other guy's still on and hasn't done anything, or hopefully another FTO gets on, because it's supposed to be set up that if it is slow for the transport guys, that FTOs take them out on the road to start showing them that stuff, because honestly we have nothing else to do because nobody's doing transport RP.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be talking with the FTOs to try and get that cracking along a little bit more. We also didn't have many FTOs till like the last week. I think we just brought 3 more on this last week. So it was Cope, myself, and 302. We used to have Mr. Downey. He went AFK on us. Nobody knows what happened to him. But he used to be really good at that stuff. But because he could get on earlier in the night with people, and I'd get on late at night with people, and it was just pretty good. But he went AFK. He's no longer with our department, and so now we just kind of got to figure out the kinks with who we have and try to get something rolling again.
Yeah, I mean, I just would like to see people use it more because in like matter of 2 days, I was only able to get 2 transports.
Yeah, which honestly, it should be a matter of like if you play 2 hours a night, you should have 2 or 3 in a night.
Hmm.
Is how I kind of figured it at 15 was you could get 3 or 4 in a night. You only had 3 nights of the week that you're on as transport, and there's probably one of those weeks that it just got dumped off to being a road ride along, and that was it kind of deal. What do you got in your ear? You got some big crusties in your ear. Jeez, dude. Scratch them out of there, would you? Um, but yeah, so we'll be working on something, trying to get that rounded out a little better, but yeah, it's been a struggle. I
Yeah,
might end up just
I mean,
doing away with it, but I really don't want to because I think it's a good integral part to start guys off at, but yeah.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't know about what kind of time you have or anything like this, but maybe like a training, like real training, because I know some of the, deputies are don't really know everything, and I mean, they're not supposed to know everything, but it's kind of like they just were put into it. I mean, they had the ride-alongs and stuff, but I mean, I don't know. I don't run the department, so I'm not really gonna say anything about it.
So I've tried, like you'll see on the calendar days in the events channel where we have department meeting or department trainings. And when I started over here in September or August of last year, I've been through 5 commands till I took over. And pretty much all those commands would try to do like a mass training, 2 or 3 deputies on at a time. Nobody would show up. And then it got down to the point for the last 2 commands that I was the only one doing any trainings, and I was trying to do that too. And it's like, hey, I'm on. Let's get a couple of you guys on. Maybe one would reach out, but then they have to leave 5 minutes into it. And they didn't even have a uniform set up. It's like, you're supposed to have this before we log in, but all right, fine. I got nobody else trained. I can wait for you to set it up. And, oh, no, I got to leave. Oh, okay. So, in the last couple of months, with the department-wide trainings, nobody shows up to them either.
I feel like
So,
it could be something that's required. If you don't do this, it could be either a demotion or it could even be for people that are new and coming on. It's required for them to do this, or they can't become a deputy, or they can't rank up. You know what I mean?
so it already kind of is set up that way. The problem is with me not following through on the motions and the firing from the department is if I followed through on that, we only have 26 members in our department, we'd be left with 5 or 6. Granted, a lot of
Yeah.
us would rather role play with 5 or 6 than 26, but I don't really think that's the best way to treat the situation. And usually every weekend I got to park and do a 34 so I can host like a training or whatever then. So maybe I can start doing them a little more often. But I'm just not seeing the return from the deputies on doing those trainings, and it kind of sucks. Like Mr. Bailey's been showing up to every single one of them, but he's the only one that shows up. And then like the one night, me and him were trying to do a training, but I couldn't get on because I was in an area with no cell reception, and I had like half a bar, if that. And I kept crashing out, and I was like, yeah, no, whatever, we're done for the night. We'll see you tomorrow. Felt bad to do that, but I couldn't get on to train them. And nobody else showed up. Then we had the training the night after that, which was department-wide for everybody. We had 3 show up for that one, I think. And we did pretty good with it, but a couple people had to leave after 10, 15 minutes of it. I'm like, well, I tell you in the events channel to plan 2 hours out. We don't want to be any longer than that, and we can surely fill 2 hours worth of training. So if we can figure out how to get people to attend trainings, that'd be awesome, but yeah.
Yeah, and
And who
another
knows,
reason
there
I
might be
feel like,
one day that I start pushing and we get rid of 24 people. I don't know.
yeah, and I feel like another reason other people are like, oh, I don't want to do this training or I don't want to do this stuff is because the other departments are maybe more lenient. They're like, oh, but they get to do that or this, and people just want it to be really easy. They think everything's just easy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So
But
I can tell you right now, the sheriff's department's the easiest department. State, from my understanding, makes people fill out weekly reports, if not daily reports, on how they feel they should be promoted or left at their rank. You have to do like 5 or 6 ride-alongs at some time length with a certain amount of arrests before you're even allowed out on your own. PD is kind of like that, but they're a little bit more goofball-y because they are following IRL MCSO, and the IRL MCSO or MPD is like a little bit of kind of a
like
screw-off
NYPD.
department where they're serious with stuff, but there's a lot of just things that are just like, yeah, we can goof off with this and have a little more fun with their role play, which, hey, that's fine by me. I got no problem with it. It's kind of cool, but that's why you see them shoot a lot of people is they're using real life MPD's rules of engagement, and that's pretty much if MPD really wanted to, they could do shootings like that all the time. They don't, but they could because they allow for it in their SOPs. So yeah, from what I understand, the SO is the easiest. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that or not. I have it set up to where it's a self-led system because, again, when I do the other commands, I was the only one training. People were coming in from overseas, and it was very hard for me to get times with them because when I would get on, it'd be 3, 4 in the morning for them, like for Mr. Bailey. I think right now it's 10 o'clock at night for him. But it was really hard for our times to match up. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to set this all up so you guys come in, you go through the steps for the new, you train yourselves essentially. Any questions, you reach out to the FTOs at any point in the process, and voila. And then you do some transports, you do some ride-alongs, and there you go. And then we have the monthly department trainings, which we go in more depth on Code 5s. We do whatever we see that need specific training or touching on, we'll cover, and all that kind of stuff. But then nobody shows up to them, and we're back in square one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's that all I really have is the transport thing. I feel like it should be like every department should talk about it, or it should be maybe a subdivision. But I don't feel like people would join it. But I don't know. It's I don't know.
Right. Well, if we get a chance, I'll bring it up in a community meeting tomorrow and see if we can do something like that. I know MPD does transports too.
They do.
Yeah, they got their own van and everything. I don't know if it's a subdivision for them or how they have it structured, but I know they do it because I've seen them a couple of times do it.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, I like how the department runs. You know, I think it's good. You know, I think you did a good job.
Right.
Also,
That's
Farmer,
Yo.
you now have Curtis Jackson, the 4th in attendance.
Yeah, I see him.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go back down stage.
Okay. Don't get too
Uh,
cold in the basement.
Good to hear from you, Jackson.
Is he coming? I think he's still out getting food. Oh, there he is. Now we're in trouble. Oh, he's gone. Well, we're gonna bring him back up here, dude. Why not? Yeah, there, Meta. I think Meta died. That's not good. And no, Marks can't change your name in the roster. I gotta do that. Oh, yeah, we can do Deputy of the Week vote. We've had like 7 Jacksons at once already in here. God dang it, wrong channel. I'll get a Deputy of the Week vote up within the hour here. I gotta go fix the roster, and that's where I get everything from. Oh, we got a Hazelwood. This stuff smells good when it burns. Hi,
Yo,
Mr. Hazelwood. You got any questions, comments, or concerns you'd like to discuss this month?
um, yeah, one question though. Do FTOs do the ride along? Because I did fill out the HOC application, got accepted early this morning. How would that work?
So, filling it out that early in the morning, Mr. Bailey would be the only FTO that'd probably even be awake to see it. I don't even know what time you filled it out at.
Okay, well, how would ride alongs work? That's
So,
my question.
basically, you just tag FTO. When an FTO hops on, they reach out to you and say, hey, we're on now. If you want to hop on. Like, I'll be hopping on after this meeting here. I'm not sure about Mr. Bailey, but he'll be coming back up here in a few minutes.
Okay,
And then they'll show you how to do the transport stuff. And then they'll just kind of leave you to do the transport unless it's super slow. Then they're to be taking you out on the road to do road ride-alongs. And there you go. You do a couple of those until you feel you're good, or if you're extremely well, you can get away with doing one, um, and go from there.
okay, that was my only question.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Yipper. Alrighty. I'm going to bring all you guys up here to chit-chat amongst yourselves, or we can just go down to a general VC unless you guys, I don't know how to get it to where you guys can raise your hands. That's kind of confusing. Nah. But, I'm going to bring you guys up here, because the meeting's pretty much done here, and then, oh, we got another chat. What's going on? Terms of the channel? What? What you talking about? I don't know. I've got everything but that. I can open up the side chat. I can see who requested. I can inbox. I can leave the stage. I got all kinds of video options, music options. I don't know. We're all good. But all right, I'm gonna bring you guys up here. You guys can chit chat, and I'll get that Deputy of the Week vote launched out. We'll go from there.
You on your computer right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly just in the you right click in and then it has settings and then go into settings and it should be somewhere in there.
Yeah, I don't have that option. I'm right clicking. Nothing's
Oh.
happening.
That's weird.
Yeah, technology hates me.
Yeah, I've never used the whatever this is called,